Dilia Ham, you've been working on this project for 2 years, the Trio project with Moldovans. Maybe you could explain a little bit more why ECF has been working on this project.
This project is actually the result of a cooperation with local partners in Moldova, Source Foundation Moldova, Center for Cultural Policy, since 2004. So it's actually a follow-up project for a longer-term process we have been engaging in since that time. And it started with a capacity building program of 3 years that was supported by the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs MATA program. And that project was specifically already focusing on administrators, NGOs from the cultural field, getting a dialogue going between them. And what we learned from that project together with our local partners, that first of all, Moldova is a very rural country, and in the rural countryside there are many challenges and a need for development of this area. And Trio Moldova is a conclusion, but also a wrap-up of that process, trying to invest into the rural countryside and at the same time exploring how culture can be a resource of development for these rural countryside villages. And at the basis of this is a cooperation between policymakers on the one side and cultural agents on the other side. And in Moldova, these cultural agents are namely the House of Culture and local NGOs working together with cultural administrators. And the project started with an open call, and through that we gathered a number of trios, a House of Culture, an NGO and a cultural administrator, who were already actively working together, developing projects. And we engaged 8 of these trios in this new project, trying to develop projects as a result of this 2-year follow-up project.
And can you tell us where we are right now with this part of the project?
We are ending with the last activity, which is a study visit to the UK. The trios have been developing their projects together until the end of this month, and this is kind of the last moment of input for them. So they have received training so far, and now they are visiting the UK to see how their counterparts in the UK, in the rural countryside, have been developing projects, have been trying to get different players in the cultural field together to develop communities. So this is a last moment of inspiration for them to develop their projects until the end of this month. And most of them at the end of this process will be granted with support, project support, for them to actually implement those projects that they have been developing together with trainers, with each other, with their colleagues.
And what do you think the biggest threat is at this stage to the programme?
The biggest threat? Well, the biggest threat of people actually visiting a country like the UK, which is so far away from their own personal experience, is that they would lock themselves off of taking in the experience, because they would automatically say, well, that's not the way we could ever do it at home. So I think the biggest threat would be for people not to be open enough to take in all this new information. And we're going to see eventually in their project proposals and how far they actually have been able to take in this new way of, or other ways of doing things that they are used to. Another threat, I think, is that this is a process that needs much more investment, much more time for actually mentalities to change. And after Trio Moldova will end, we could probably have 4 or 5 more Trio Moldovas to actually have this lasting effect.
Okay, so we better stay on top of the story and continue to see how they progress.
We certainly will through Soros Moldova. They will keep us up to date and will take the process further into the future.
Dilia, thank you very much.
Thank you.